Shall we address the cop car in the room? If anybody doesn't recognize this, which I would be extremely disappointed if they did, this is the almighty Bluesmobile. This is a miniature of the best movie car of all time, even surpassing in my mind the DeLorean from Back to the Future. Now I know a lot of you will disagree, but this car is magical to me. Whether this is not screen used or a screen used piece, it doesn't matter. I love it. In my early collecting days, I would search eBay, and I came across somebody who was selling this car. So I reached out to the guy, and it was Steve Bashakes, a guy who was a childhood friend of John Belushi, and got this from John when they were doing the Blues Brothers, and had it hanging in a speakeasy that he put together for John and Dan while they were doing the Blues Brothers.
They knew how to party.
Those guys knew how to party.
From what I hear.
I do a deal with Steve over the phone. He agrees to it. So I get my brother-in-law, Mark. We go to Steve's place. He lives in a very small one-room apartment. He looked like he was on hard times, and I think that's why he was selling the car. He wound up getting very, very emotional, because this was his only connection to John, and John had been passed away for many years at this point.
He passed away? Is he still alive?
So Steve has passed away since. His place started on fire, he left, and then decided to go back in to save his cat.
At least you saved it, and he's probably very happy wherever he is that you saved this car, and we're talking about it right now. And
yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. According to Steve, this is the miniature that they threw off a building to get the car flipping in the air scene. And it is much heavier than I would ever think. What would you say the weight of this thing is, Caleb?
100 pounds, 150, 200? I don't know. I'm not a good judge of that.
I mean, just
he
looking
lifts
at it
weights,
like this,
so he
yeah,
might know.
It's at least, I mean, I can't even,
I would
probably 150 pounds.
I would say you're close to 200 pounds.
Yeah.
All right, 200.
Let's start with this shot towards the end of the film when the car flips up in the air off of the expressway.
Okay.
That's the shot I was told that this was used in.
Wait for it. There. Is that this car?
This thing is way too heavy to be throwing off a building like that.
Can four guys, the four of us,
Not at
could
all.
we pick it up and throw it?
No, especially not that height.
At that height, and make it flip multiple times?
There is no way that this thing was thrown off of a building, right?
What would it land? It would be crushed.
It would have been destroyed in a million pieces, right?
Pieces.
A collector friend of mine who I've mentioned before on the show, Rob Klein, when he first came out to visit me, he looked at it and was obsessed with it. He's like, this is the most amazing thing ever. Well, in his digging, and he has personal connections to Universal, he was able to talk to a person and do a deal with the person who wound up getting a few of these cars that were in the Universal prop department. These cars were the same scale, but built at a very light construction. The wheels were foam, the body was very lightweight.
Yeah.
It was maybe 30 pounds.
And was it this detailed?
It was not this detailed. It wasn't as nice as this. It did not have a metal structure. I think that the two cars that Rob had gotten were the ones that would have been utilized for certainly a sequence like this.
Yeah, flipping.
And not this car. So they had multiple versions of this car, but this is the only one that I've come across so far that is of this level of a build.
Yeah, and you can see some dents and things on the top of the car here that we don't see in this car.
That's right.
So it's clearly not this car.
Oh, you know what's interesting on the inside here?
Yeah.
Is that there are there's towels in the front to hide the light. Like there's a kitchen towel in the front here.
Yeah.
With cherry pits.
To hide the light from what?
Probably the light going in, but there's a weird this weird, what the hell is that? Yeah.
Let's pick up our borescope here.
Whoa. What is that?
We'll stick this up the tailpipe and see what we find out.
Huh. There's a rose in there.
A rose?
Looks like the thing they used on the
A rose or a dead mouse?
Oh.
And inspecting this before, we found half a tambourine in here, and also a bracelet, a pearl bracelet that more than likely was stuck in here during the period of time it was in the bar. I know Steve said that he used to hide money in this car.
Maybe there's still some money in here.
That's a tambourine.
So we got half a tambourine, a pearl bracelet. Martin thinks he found something up there.
There's Martin's hands.
And there's wiring that goes up that's been hot glued with lights that go up. So this was meant to have lights.
This came with those little mini pack of Lucky Strikes.
Wow, there's a lot of electronics in the back. A lot of there's a battery and a lot of lights in the back. Like this car is a combo of a lot of artistry. I mean, it would cost a fortune to make something like this.
How long would it take to craft this?
Something like that. Personally, if somebody said, I need this car, I would ask for 3 or 4 months, maybe 5 months. To sculpt it, just do the structure would take me 2 months maybe. I mean, and molding it and casting it and all the detail. The upholstery, it's upholstered. Throw something off a roof, put the upholstery in it. They probably had puppets on the inside, like little miniatures of their characters.
I don't see any signs of anything having been attached in there, but it's possible.
Have you ever seen any puppets come to market on auction? Or
Especially the other thing, right? This is probably just a 2.5 scale car or a 3rd scale car.
Maybe 3rd, yeah.
A 3rd, right?
2.5 for 3rd, yeah. I'd say you're pretty
so
close.
you're doing a 3rd scale car when you have physical effects, smoke, fire, water, because you want to maintain the scale.
Right.
So you do a car this big when you involve physical effects. It's going to crash through a wall. It's going to bump into something. It's going to. If you're throwing a car off a building or have it spin, you could do it with smaller version. This is for an in-camera, like really close up. Maybe it's this first perspective and the character's in the front and it's in the back. This is super complex. Like today it would cost a fortune to make something like this.
Right.
A fortune. A fortune. You don't do it for no reason.
Right. Clearly it is the Bluesmobile. Clearly it is a model miniature. It is a very large model miniature. But where was it used in the film?
Is there any part where a car crashes through something really that is like a wall?
Well, they crashed through the windows of the Daily Plaza building. This is a full-size car going through the window. You can see the little ramp they built so it could get up into the building. You've got people running away.
Do you think this could be a forced perspective shot, or is this a full-size shot?
You definitely have people. This guy is jumping onto a desk that's there.
I don't see why they would do a forced perspective shot on this. I feel like if that was the case, I mean, the car would be much smaller. It would be like that, because you had people in the foreground. I don't know. I mean, personally, I feel like that shot was not a miniature shot.
So it looks like
that was a full-size
car the whole way through that scene.
They had numerous full-size versions of the Bluesmobiles. Lots of them got destroyed.
According to the history of the movie, they did a deal with the mayor of Chicago at the time to actually crash through the windows. It's possible that they made this assuming that they might not get permission, to do something like that.
Right. There's another scene when the car makes the jump over the river in Chicago. There is a shot where the car is going at a very strong angle up the bridge. If it was a miniature with a forced static perspective shot, which is this shot is, I could totally see that happening with the miniature like this. Let's go to the bridge jump. That's the one that seems most likely they would have used this for. But here, take a look at this.
Here.
That looks like that could be forced perspective.
Well, it's also, you wouldn't know the height of the car, really. You could put a miniature there and you wouldn't know the difference.
And on a full-size bridge.
Yeah, to the naked eye, no one would know the difference.
Yes, right. And it looks like it's driving down the middle line.
Yeah, could be a miniature.
I wonder what the height of this is.
Yeah. I mean, if I put that on that
bridge. But here's the thing. If you had the camera low, you can make that back bar look much bigger and make the car look big based on the how high the camera is from the ground.
Yeah, this
looks
could
like
totally be a miniature.
It looks like the camera's just about right on
Because,
the
I mean, if you
ground.
look at that's an extreme angle for a car like that to get up to speed to go up that ramp.
See.
Well, you could see the size of the lane. Is kind
And
of
then
a human size
this
lane.
could
When
be
it
miniature, too.
when it landed, well, you can see a guy there stopping traffic,
Is that a
but-
real person?
and then
Yeah, that's a real car.
yeah, and then at the end you see from the side that they made kind of a ramp at the end of
And
the
that's a real car
ramp
for sure.
so that they could drive off.
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
that's a real car. So it's
Yeah,
not it.
so it really, it's this and the shot before that we're just not sure about.
Yeah.
I mean, they did some crazy jumps in this movie.
They did,
so-
and they destroyed a lot of cars.
yeah.
Was this something that was used in the production? Was this something that was left over? Were the lights original to the build on this, or were they added so that it was in the bar? You know, we don't know.
And if this was made with the idea that they would use this instead of a real car for certain scenes, it was probably made earlier on when they saw the script and they were like, we have a lot of stuff in here that's going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
Let's make a good car.
But this must have been done after they finished the real car, because this is modeled after the real car. All the details, all the letters.
That is very true.
You know, so this is
At least the first version
yeah,
of it.
The first version. This is in production. You know, looking at the car, and then
Or it was the model makers had extra time and Belushi wanted them to make it, and Ackroyd said, make me a Bluesmobile for my buddy Steve.
wow, yeah.
I mean, at this period of time, I wouldn't put it past them.
yeah.
Because if they had already made like foam ones, they probably would have made one like that for him.
Right.
So to put this much detail into one, I don't know.
I don't know. It seems
Seems unlikely.
like a crew gift would be. This would be way beyond being a crew gift. I mean, yeah.
If I was reading a script and I saw how much crazy stuff was happening with a car, I would want to make at least one in case we had to do a
Maybe.
miniature shot through the Daily Plaza or through jumping across a bridge.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
me,
if this was like for one specific scene, they were like, we're not going to be able to get that done. We have to make it for that scene.
That could be true because that scene got cut from the
if
film.
it had to drive through a historic building, and we don't want to destroy a historic building, you know.
Or
it
maybe-
was for the Daily Plaza scene, and they were able to do it.
They got permission from Jane Byrne.
yeah.
And if that's the case, it would make sense if they didn't need it, they would give it to John to put in the bar.
And then, so they build this, planning on using this because they don't think they're going to get permission.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, they get permission, and then the people are like, well, that's great that we can do the shot full scale and actually drive through the Daily Plaza. The problem is, now we have to figure out how to get a full-size car through the Daily Plaza.
No matter what, it's production made for sure, made by super skilled
Model
people,
miniature makers,
model
yes.
miniature,
I completely
side
agree.
The top of the line, make me a beautiful car, make it solid as humanly possible.
That's right.
Make it as detailed as humanly possible. It probably costs more than a real cop car.
I'm sure it did.
Is this in your top 10?
Yes, it is in my top 10. Well, it isn't anymore. It was until I got a John Belushi suit from the Blues Brothers. Now it's down to 11.
All right, that's good. Okay.
That Belushi suit is up in the top 5. If I could match this to the film, it would raise up. But my personal experience with Steve certainly makes this an important piece that I'll never sell. It's freaking awesome.